Lieutenant Samantha Cross had killed 64 people in her career, and not one of them ever knew she was there. That was the entire point of being a Sentinel Sniper. You exist from kilometers away. You operate silently. You neutralize threats before teams even realize they're threatened. Samantha preferred it that way. Solitude was her natural state. Isolation was her comfort zone. And anonymity was the price of being the best at what she did. But on this morning in Afghanistan's Helmand province, everything she knew about Sentinel operations was about to change. For the past 6 days, she'd been tracking a Marine Recon team through snow-covered mountain terrain, maintaining position 1.2 to 2.5 kilometers from their element, providing invisible overwatch. Through her spotting scope, she watched the Marine team halt in a shallow valley. Captain David Martinez led the element. Staff Sergeant Ryan O'Connor provided security. Corporal Michael Chen and Sergeant Alex Rodriguez covered the flanks. That's when Samantha saw the problem. Movement on the eastern ridgeline, approximately 1,800 meters from the Marine position. Armed fighters, at least 35 of them, moving with professional military discipline. They were positioning themselves on high ground, establishing overlapping fields of fire into the valley where the Marines had stopped. This wasn't a random encounter. This was a prepared ambush, and the Marine team was about to walk directly into it. Samantha keyed her radio. Marine 1 Sentinel. Hostile forces establishing ambush positions on eastern ridgeline. I count at least 35 personnel. Heavy weapons. Recommend immediate displacement. Martinez's voice came back sharp. Sentinel, can you confirm hostile intent? Through her scope, Samantha watched. Machine guns being positioned. RPG teams selecting firing positions. Designated marksmen finding elevated hides. Marine 1, they're setting up an L-shaped ambush with your position as the kill zone. Heavy machine guns, multiple RPGs, at least 4 designated marksmen. This is a planned operation. You need to move now. Before Martinez could respond, the first shot cracked across the valley. Chen spun and dropped, his leg collapsing under him. The ambush had been initiated. Then all hell broke loose. Machine gun fire raked the valley. RPGs streaked through the cold air, detonating against rocks and frozen ground. The Marine team scrambled for whatever cover they could find in terrain that offered precious little protection. Samantha assessed the tactical situation. Enemy at 1,800 meters. She was 1,200 meters from the Marines. Total distance, 2,800 meters. Extreme range. Wind gusting unpredictably. Temperature minus 18 degrees Celsius. But math was just math. She transitioned to her M2010 sniper rifle. First target, machine gunner. She breathed, held, fired. The machine gunner dropped. First threat eliminated. Second target, RPG gunner. Fire. Down. Third, another machine gun. Fire. Down. Marine 1 Sentinel engaging at extreme range. I've eliminated primary threats, but you're still taking fire. Can you move? Martinez strained. Negative. Chen is down, taking sustained fire from multiple positions. No clear exit route. Standard Sentinel protocols. Maintain position. Engage from distance. Wait for support. But the nearest support was 40 minutes away. The Marines didn't have 40 minutes. They had maybe 10. Samantha didn't hesitate. She secured the M2010 across her back, brought her M4 carbine into her hands. She keyed her radio. Marine 1, I'm moving to your position. Give me 8 minutes. Martinez shocked. Sentinel, snipers don't close distance. Captain, with respect, the rulebook just became irrelevant. Your team is about to be overrun. I'm moving now. Samantha covered 1,200 meters in 9 minutes. She moved through draws behind ridgelines, used every piece of terrain for concealment. At 400 meters from the nearest hostile position, she could see the full scope of the ambush. 3 primary firing positions, L-shaped arrangement, approximately 35 fighters, but they'd made one critical mistake. All attention was focused on the valley. No one was watching their rear approaches. Samantha approached from the northwest. First targets, 2 rear security fighters. Suppressed fire. Both down before they realized. Move forward 25 meters. Machine gun position, 3 fighters. Samantha approached to 18 meters. Fire. Controlled pairs. All 3 down. The machine gun fell silent. The enemy force descended into confusion. They didn't understand why their support had stopped. Several moved toward the silenced position. Samantha engaged from behind rocks. 4 more down. Now they understood. They were being attacked from behind. Samantha took return fire. Rounds sparked off rocks. She moved to better cover, using smoke and terrain. Martinez's voice on the radio. Unknown friendly. Identify yourself. Marine 1 Sentinel. I'm approximately 250 meters northwest of your position, currently engaging the hostile element from their rear. I've eliminated their primary machine gun support and reduced their effective strength by about 1/3, but I'm taking fire now. Pause. Sentinel, you're the sniper. You're supposed to operate from distance. Today I'm improvising, Captain. Can you provide suppressive fire on bearing 320? Copy, stand by. The Marine team opened precision fire on the position Samantha indicated. The enemy was suppressed. Samantha engaged the remaining threats. RPG gunner, 2 riflemen, another machine gunner. Each engagement was quick and decisive. The enemy force began collapsing. The coordinated ambush became a desperate fight for survival. Some tried to withdraw. Samantha transitioned to the M2010. Long-range precision shots. Distance provided no protection. After 20 minutes, the battlefield fell silent. Marine 1 Sentinel, hostile force neutralized. Your position is secure. Moving to your location. Samantha approached the Marine position. She pulled back her white hood. Auburn hair, gray-green eyes, a small scar above her left eyebrow. She moved to Chen's wound, checked the bandage, administered pain medication, secured a better dressing. Chen asked, "Ma'am, who exactly are you?" "Lieutenant Samantha Cross, Sentinel Sniper Program. I've been providing overwatch for your operation for the past 6 days." Martinez, surprised. 6 days? There was no mention of Sentinel support in our mission brief. "That's how Sentinel operations work, Captain. You don't know we're there. We shadow from distance, eliminate threats before they develop. Usually, you never know we exist." Today was unusual. O'Connor asked, "Ma'am, what you just did wasn't Overwatch." "That was direct action at close quarters. How many targets did you personally engage?" 21 confirmed, possibly 3 more. The tactical situation required adaptation from standard protocols. "Rodriguez, you tracked us for 6 days and we never knew." "That's my job." Sentinel snipers operate alone, maintain perfect concealment, engage threats before teams realize they're threatened. Suddenly, the weather made its presence known. Wind turned savage, temperature dropped, the sky darkened. "Samantha, we need to find shelter immediately. Major storm incoming within 30 minutes. Staying in this valley will be fatal. Martinez." Recommendations. Cave system 2.5 kilometers north. I identified it 3 days ago. It'll provide protection and defensible positions. They moved immediately. Samantha took point. O'Connor supported Chen. Martinez and Rodriguez provided security. The storm hit before they reached the caves. Visibility dropped to 20 meters. Temperature plummeted to minus 25 degrees Celsius. Wind began shrieking. Samantha navigated by GPS and terrain memory. They reached the cave system, an 18-meter deep chamber with narrow entrance and good thermal properties. The storm raged for 7 hours. The team rotated watch, shared rations, tried to stay warm. Chen asked, "How long have you been doing Sentinel operations?" 7 years. This is my 74th operation. Most go exactly as planned. I eliminate threats from distance. Everyone goes home without knowing I was there. Today was exceptional circumstances. How exceptional? The ambush was set up with professional military competence. Standard overwatch from 2,800 meters wasn't sufficient. The engagement would have been over before I could affect the outcome, so I closed the distance. Have you done that before? Once, 4 years ago in Iraq. Delta Force element walked into a similar ambush. I closed to within 60 meters, engaged from their flank. We eliminated 42 hostiles with 0 American casualties. O'Connor whistled, "That's not in any doctrine." Because it's not doctrine, it's adaptation. Situations don't always permit engagement from distance. Sometimes the best way to protect a team is to be in the fight with them. Martinez asked, "Cross, I need to ask. Today you saved our lives. Why do you do this work? Days alone, no recognition. No one knows you exist." Samantha was quiet for a long moment. Then, "My father was an army captain deployed to Iraq in 2006 with an infantry company. Good officer, tactical, smart, took care of his soldiers. But one day, his patrol walked into an ambush. A sniper they never saw killed him and 3 of his soldiers before they could respond." She paused. "I was 17 when it happened. Spent the next couple years angry at the war, at the insurgents, at the universe for taking him away. When I joined the Army and eventually qualified for sniper school, I realized I wanted to be the person who prevented that from happening to other families. The invisible guardian who eliminates threats before they can kill good people who are just trying to do their jobs." Martinez: "Your father would be proud of what you do." "Maybe. Or maybe he'd think I was crazy for spending 7 years lying in frozen mud making shots most people think are impossible. But it's not about what he'd think. It's about making sure other 17-year-old kids don't lose their parents to enemies they never saw coming." The storm broke completely around 2100 hours. The team prepared to move to their extraction point, 23 kilometers away, through challenging terrain with a wounded team member. Samantha moved with them, transitioned back into her Overwatch role, but now operating within direct communication range, not kilometers away. She rotated between point position and rear security, used her terrain reading skills to find the best routes. They moved through the night. Samantha spotted 2 separate enemy patrols during movement, both searching for the American team. She vectored the Marines around one patrol completely. The second couldn't be avoided. Samantha eliminated the 3-man observation post from 700 meters. 3 precise shots. The Marine element never even heard. The extraction helicopters arrived exactly on schedule at 0630 hours. Blackhawks coming in fast and low. The Marine team loaded quickly. Samantha was the last aboard, taking her position near the door, maintaining observation until they cleared hostile territory. As the helicopters climbed away, she felt the familiar mixture of relief at mission completion and the slight melancholy that always came with returning to civilization after extended solo operations. 4 days later, at a secure facility in Germany, debriefing happened. Samantha sat across from Colonel Rachel Foster, who commanded the Special Operations Task Force, and civilian David Reynolds, who represented the organization that actually ran the Sentinel program. Foster began, "Lieutenant Cross, I've reviewed classified operation reports from multiple sources. Captain Martinez's after-action report contains no specific mention of your involvement, despite the fact that his entire team knows exactly what happened. He followed operational security protocols for classified programs, ma'am." Reynolds leaned forward. "Samantha, let's discuss what actually happened in Afghanistan. You were conducting standard Sentinel overwatch, maintaining appropriate separation from the Marine element. When they walked into a prepared ambush, you made the tactical decision to abandon standard protocols, close to contact distance, and engage in direct close-quarters combat against a numerically superior force. The tactical situation required adaptation, sir. Standard Sentinel protocols, engaging from extreme range while maintaining separation, weren't sufficient to address the threat. The Marine team would have been overrun before long-range precision fire could change the outcome. I assessed the situation and determined that closing distance and engaging from their flank was the only viable option to prevent American casualties. Foster spoke. "You made the right decision. That's not in question. What is in question is whether this represents a pattern. This is the second time in your career that you've transitioned from traditional Sentinel operations to close-quarters combat. The first was in Iraq 4 years ago." "Yes, ma'am." Both situations involved prepared ambushes by professionally trained enemy forces where standard long-range engagement wasn't sufficient to protect the teams I was assigned to guard. Reynolds' tone was neutral. "So you've established a precedent. When conditions warrant it, you'll abandon Sentinel protocols and engage directly at close quarters. My primary mission is protecting American forces. The methods I use to accomplish that mission depend on circumstances." Foster and Reynolds exchanged glances, clearly having discussed this before the meeting. Foster spoke first. "We're not disciplining you. Your actions saved 4 American lives and eliminated a significant hostile force. That's exactly what the Sentinel program is designed to accomplish. However, we need to address the implications of your tactical adaptations." Reynolds explained. "We're creating a new position within the program, Advanced Sentinel Operators, snipers who are trained and authorized to transition between long-range overwatch and direct action engagement as situations warrant. You'll be the first person formally assigned to this role, and you'll help us develop the training and protocols for future operators." Foster added, "We're also promoting you to Staff Sergeant effective immediately and assigning you to the Sentinel training program as lead instructor for advanced operations. You'll spend the next 6 months training the next generation of Sentinel snipers in both traditional long-range operations and the tactical flexibility to adapt when circumstances demand." Samantha nodded, accepting the promotion and assignment. She preferred field operations, but she understood the logic. Her operational experience over 7 years and 74 missions needed to be passed on to shape the next generation of operators. 3 years later, Commander Jake Martinez, now promoted and leading a larger Marine element, was conducting operations in northern Canada when his team encountered unexpected resistance. As his team maneuvered under fire, Martinez's radio crackled. "Marine Actual, Sentinel. I have eyes on your position. 28 personnel, heavy weapons attempting to establish an L-shaped ambush. Recommend immediate displacement to bearing 270. I'll provide covering fire." Martinez keyed his radio, unable to suppress a slight smile. "Copy, Sentinel. Moving on your mark. And, whoever you are, thanks for being there. That's the job, Marine Actual. Now move." He never learned if it was Samantha or one of the operators she'd trained. The voice was neutral, the call sign generic, maintaining the operational security that made Sentinel operations effective. But as his team successfully displaced under precision covering fire from distances they couldn't see, Martinez knew that somewhere out there, a Sentinel was watching. Samantha Cross continued operational work for another 9 years, accumulating 116 missions across 6 combat zones. She trained 41 advanced Sentinel operators who went on to protect special operations teams worldwide. She never sought recognition, never gave interviews, never appeared in official photographs. Years later, when training new Sentinel candidates, Samantha was asked what sustained her through the isolation, the danger, the psychological pressure of operating completely alone while carrying the weight of other people's lives. Her answer was always the same. "My father was killed by a sniper he never saw. I've dedicated my career to making sure that doesn't happen to other families. Whether I'm engaging from 2 kilometers away or fighting at close quarters doesn't matter. What matters is that American warriors come home alive to their families. That's been my mission from the beginning. And it's the only mission that's ever mattered." The Sentinel program continued to evolve, incorporating both traditional long-range overwatch and advanced protocols for tactical flexibility, but the core principle remained unchanged. American warriors operating in hostile territory deserved protection from threats they couldn't see, and Sentinel snipers provided that protection, whether from impossible distances or from within the fight itself. The wolf doesn't announce itself to the sheep. It just does what wolves do when sheep need protecting. Sometimes from distant hills, sometimes from within the fight. Always watching, always ready. Because in the end, the work is what matters. Not the recognition or glory. Just the knowledge that somewhere American warriors are coming home alive because someone was watching from the shadows, making impossible shots, taking impossible risks, doing impossible things, whether they knew it or not.